Welcome to Career Moving Opportunities for College Students, where the journey from campus to career begins. Hosted by Donnie Glover of Be More News, each episode explores how you can develop essential skills in creativity, leadership, critical thinking, and a growth mindset, all designed to enhance your college experience and prepare you for success in the workforce. Get ready to grow, lead, and create your future.
Okay, we have with us Terrance Smalls. Terrance, what's your company? What's your title?
I'm the founding partner of 89 Crowns, founding partner and creative director. We're a creative agency specializing in short form, narrative, and commercial content.
What are your thoughts on leadership?
Leadership is very important. I know that sounds cliche, but as a person that has to follow sometimes, I know that a leader should exemplify traits that the people that are following him admire. I always have the saying that I don't mind following anyone as long as I can trust them and trust that they'll make the right decisions. So for any infrastructure that involves human resources, leadership is very, very important.
You mentioned trust. How important is trust in a leader?
Very. For example, I work a lot in electric, and it's very hard to do something when you don't trust that the person doesn't understand what they're doing. A miscalculation or a misstep could lead to a casualty or a fatality. So trusting someone to make the right decisions that you don't have to, it makes it easier for the followers because they don't have to worry about every minute detail, So it's important for a leader to not only gain the trust, but instill trust in others as well.
How does a leader do that?
By accountability, for one. If there is a mishap or a mistake, one, adapting to that obstacle, but also taking accountability when things go wrong. I've been in plenty of situations where it falls back on the crew, because the person that made the decision didn't want to take accountability. And when that happens, it destroys a homogenous situation. If you're working with a crew of guys or, filmmaking, construction workers, whatever it is that requires that bond, it gets disrupted when the leader cannot be trusted.
Does a leader need to show those he's leading or she is leading that they are willing to do the work themselves, that they're willing to get dirt under their fingernails themselves?
I think that's one type of leader. One type of leader is definitely hands-on, boots on the ground type of deal. And I admire that, but I also admire leaders that are occupied doing other things to move the task along, and they trust the crew enough to let them do what they need to do. So it's two types of leadership. I find that the boots on the ground situation is usually there until, like I said, once that trust is instilled between the leader and the people that they're leading and the people being led in the leader.
So in the second scenario, what popped into my brain was, and I know you're an artist in many ways.
Yes.
Artists don't like micromanagers. Artists don't like standing over top of their shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Artists appreciate
second guessing. Hey, move the nail over there, move the camera over here. Hey, and it's like, would this person get from over my shoulder?
Yeah, I think with artistry, the thing that it's important for a lot of people that patronize artists to understand, like if you're supporting this artist, you're supporting them for a reason. You trust their decision-making skills when it comes to creating. And I think that from my experience, the times that it's most difficult to have someone standing over my shoulder is like during the editing process, because it's not anything that happens immediately. It's usually something that takes time and it takes thought process, and that can't be done with, it can be, but the process is often disturbed because insecurities, like whoever is paying the artist might be insecure or just or feel that their knowledge and their input might make the piece go in their direction. But in all honesty, if you entrusted this person with a task and it's their, forte, it's their craft, I think the best way to deal with an artist is to let them mess up. If that's what you're afraid of, it's going to happen regardless, but give them that space to need a correction before you hover. That would be my only input as far as the artistry.
Tell me about work-life balance.
Mm.
A woman,
Hmm.
she's the leader, she's the CEO of a company. She's married.
Okay.
And the husband does something else. Or vice versa.
Uh-huh.
The man might be the CEO. How does a person balance that work family combination when you're used to being the leader at work, but you get home and somebody says, take that damn trash outside?
I've seen that dynamic a lot. And it's always interesting. Like, you can tell the people that don't lead the household, man or woman, by the way they engage with, tasks and responsibilities over other human beings. I think it's hard me personally speaking, work-life balance has been a difficult thing. I often take my work home with me, whether I'm on set or,
I'm guilty.
yeah, it's hard to separate. I'm always thinking about something creative. I'm always thinking about the next project. So even when I'm on someone else's set, it's like, how can I make that better the next day? That's actually what excites me. My job is sort of a hobby. My hobby has developed into my job.
You love what you do.
I love what I do. And I appreciate it.
And that's rare, because a lot of us, if you ask me, a lot of us are frustrated doing something that we got to do in hopes of being able to do something that we really want to do.
Exactly. So when it comes to the work-life balance, it depends. I think it would be easier to balance my work-life situation if I didn't love what I do. Anybody that's close to me in any way, shape, or form in life, they understand what I love, and they kind of, mold themselves to the situation. My family knows that I might be 15 minutes late. My friends, they're often in business with me, so they understand what it is. I don't really surround myself with a lot of people that don't understand what it takes to do what I do and to do the things that I want to do. So I will say, for at least at this juncture in life, my work-life balance is horrible. But if you do have a family, I think that also adds to the need for work-life balance. Right now, I'm a single man, so I don't really have a need for work-life balance outside of my mental and my physical and making sure I get enough rest. But I feel like family, having people that depend on you, that's definitely a different scenario. And I don't know if I would want to lead all day, like after I'm on set for 12 to 14 hours, if I come home, I kind of want those decisions delegated, someone else to be the leader and to tell me what needs to be done. I don't always seek that, but yeah, I feel for the people that either have it in one place or not the other. Like I said, I've encountered many people that, they don't get to lead at home. So their work leadership skills are affected greatly, for the worse, oftentimes.
What leaders do you look up to?
Leaders in my life or leaders abroad?
Either.
Well, my mother, for one. Like, I definitely look up to my mother. She's definitely always been the leader of the household, holding things down in many different capacities, that I can't even fathom, So definitely my mother. My immediate friend group and my mentors, Makai Jones, he's definitely been pushing me in ways that I haven't even expected to be pushed. I wouldn't be here without the leaders that I believe in, to be honest. Even when I go to work and I interact with people that have 30 years in the industry, the gaffer that I often work for, Adam, he's like, I hold him in high regard, even though a lot of the movie industry probably hates to hear him yell, but just learning from him and whatever I can soak up, just watching him work and him correcting me when I mess up. Like, I really appreciate that. So a lot of my leaders are definitely tangible. I can reach them, and they're around. So I appreciate that.
A leader and respect.
Mm.
Tell me about the respect that you expect from a leader, that you expect a leader to have for others.
That's a good question as well. Uh, like working on set, it's a lot of situations that test your tolerance for disrespect. And I've learned it's a fine line. And when it comes to respect, as long as a person that's leading me uh, is in service of the production or the task, any emotion or physical output, as long as it's in service of getting the job done, I'm comfortable with. I've been in that position plenty of times, and I know that things can get sticky. It's a hot day and you have a lot of cable to lay, whatever the case may be, whether you're working locations or wherever, things can get sticky. And understanding that tones don't necessarily dictate feelings. If I'm stressed out, I don't always have time, and when I'm on set to uh, baby people, So, but I'm also wary of disrespecting. Like I never disrespect a person. Anything that I tell or anything that I'm instructed is often in realms and in regards to the work. So I think that goes a long way. A leader maintaining their agitation levels, knowing that some people, everybody's at a different place. Some people are experts, some people are rookies, but at the end of the day, you're all moving as one. So if that means that we have to pick up somebody else's slack or, catch up to another person, it's all a sliding scale, and don't let the agitation or the circumstance dictate how you treat people.
Does a good leader read books?
I like to think of myself as an all right leader. I read a lot of screenplays, not necessarily books, but I think a good leader should be well informed, and whatever that takes to have them well informed, that makes them the better leader. Whether that's understanding whatever it takes to get you to understand what needs to be done at the highest level that you could provide. That's what makes a good leader, whether it's books, newspapers, or instruction manuals. Information is key.
Okay, I'm liking the flow of this. I love baseball, so I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
How important is therapy to a leader?
Wow. Now, my methods of therapy are pretty unconventional. I consider any release and any relaxation or anything that makes you feel better mentally. That's what I would consider therapy. Not everybody's in a position to actually go to a psychiatrist, but I think therapy is very important, not only for a leader, but for everyone. After a long day, no matter who you are, it's important to have someone to talk to, it might not be your significant other. It might be a friend, it might be a neighbor, but to have someone to vent to is very important. I know on my job, I could talk to 10 people, and we all have the same experience going home. It's that 10 to 30-minute wait outside the house where you're just literally calming down, decompressing, doom scrolling, or you're conversing and going over the day. Like me and my friend Miles, every day it's probably a 40-minute ride to get from set to the house, but every day we have to have that moment where, let's talk about today. Just to, I don't want to take that home to whoever is home waiting for me, and I don't want to hold that to the next day. So it's best for me to release it before I walk into the door of the place that I consider comfortable.
What other leaders do you admire worldwide, historically?
I feel like it's a cliche list, but Malcolm X has definitely been, that's one of the earliest books I read, was the autobiography.
Why?
Well, I saw the movie, and the movie always fascinated me, just the history lesson that it told. And then reading the book, it was just so much more insightful. When I was younger, I was really into reading books that were adapted into movies, and that was one of the most powerful books I've read.
I agree.
Who else?
I read it when I was 15. I couldn't put it down. 3
Yes,
days
yes.
I read it.
and that's when I know I'm reading a book, when I can't put it down. I read, and then sometimes I know it doesn't catch me. And yeah, so Malcolm X is like one of my leaders that I look to as like a North Star, as well as since a young kid, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. I know that might be a controversial opinion, but Che was an amazing leader, leading people through revolution in Cuba and then eventually dying in Angola, still doing the same thing. And from what I understand, my experience in Cuba and talking to people, it's only a minute experience, but Fidel Castro was beloved by his people and people that look like me and you. So Fidel Castro was definitely a leader that I will always hold in high regard. It might sound corny, but I really respect Kobe Bryant and LeBron James for their acclamation and them determining to be better the next day. I respect that so much. When I'm on set, working in a position that, working in lighting, I channel that, like I channel that Mamba mentality, and it's go mode. I'm always ready, prepared. We move with uh, not even quickness, just move with purpose. And those are some leaders that I really respect and look up to worldwide. There are more, but
what kind of leader are you?
I think I'm a very, very, very relaxed and understanding leader who still demands, not even demands, I request tasks to be completed. And if they aren't completed, I will do them myself. That's not always the preferred method, but I think long term, and I think, all right, well, I'll just do it myself this time, and we just won't contact that person again. I'd rather just, fire people rather than argue. And a lot of the situations that you experience as a creative, you aren't really able to fire people because they're probably working for free. But when it comes to a commercial or something that is paid, I don't really have time for a back and forth dialogue. I think we're all here and we all know what we need to do. And if somebody isn't doing the task because of their unwillingness to do the task, whatever the reason may be, only thing I will make time for is like teachable moments, because people have done that for me. So if you need to learn how to do the task, more than open to showing you how. But if it's a situation where you know, you don't want to do the task or it's just not getting done, don't worry, I'll do it. I probably know how to do it, or somebody on the team knows how to do it, and we can pick up the slack and keep it moving smoothly. But that tomorrow is going to look different as far as like who's involved.
How many chances do you give a person working for you before you decide that you're tired of teaching this person and sharing the same lesson over and over again?
That's a good question. So in my own personal endeavors, creative or commercial, I've never had anyone that wasn't willing to learn. The only times that I've had people that weren't willing to learn was when I was working on sets for bigger studios and I'm in charge of a crew for electric. And those are the times where I notice people take the opportunities for granted, because they don't know what they have at their footsteps. And in those instances, I'm still not one. I don't go back to the gaffer and tell them, yo, this person did this, they did this. I'm just, oh, the next time I'm picking my crew, these people, you guys step to the side. So in those situations, I take it a little bit more serious because it's usually adults and they usually get paid very well. So if you don't know to hold on to that opportunity, it's probably, too late for anything I say or do to convince you otherwise.
What do you need to work on to become a better leader yourself?
Yourself, like literally yourself. Like I think understanding how you think and why you think the way you think, that's very important. Understanding how you respond to stress is very important. Understanding the scope of the task is very important. So a lot of leaders might be excited to lead, but not know exactly what they're getting themselves into. So it's very important to know as many angles as possible of the situation before you can definitively say that you can take on a task and lead others into taking on a task. I've seen a lot of people lead others into doom just by falling to their own ego, So ego, and whatever it takes to destroy that ego and have that ego death as early as possible, that's important, because it's a difference between ego and confidence.
I got to get this last question in. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it for a leader to trust the people, and for the people that are working for him to trust him or her?
It's very important. Like, if I don't trust the crew, then that means it's just more work for me, because I can't trust them to do the task. So I feel like, and it's the same, the flip side of the coin is the same. Like, it's important for a crew to trust the leader, because they have to be confident and that he's making competent decisions and directives, and giving competent directives. You don't want to follow somebody if every time they say something, you're going to have to redo the work because it's wrong, So it's very important for a crew to trust their leader, and the leader to trust their crew. Because if you're a leader and you're stuck on this minute task that nobody, you have people that you need to instruct to do that task. But if you're stuck on that bottom task, which is A, nobody's concentrating on B, my gaffer, when I first started working with Adam, him and Jesse Cooper, like, those are two people I really look up to. But I would always ask, like, yo, can you give me all the notes so I won't have to keep coming back to you? Please, just give me all the notes. I'm telling the guys how to do this piece by piece. And he told me, he set me down, and he's like, bro, if I gave you all the notes, it would blow your mind and you wouldn't understand it. You wouldn't even know where to start, And when it comes to like order of operations and hierarchy, that's literally how it works. The soldier isn't going to know everything the president knows. That would just disrupt the whole situation. That would trouble their mind. They wouldn't be able to perform. But you get what you need to know at whatever level you're at. So accepting that, and accepting the fact that the only way you will grow is learning, working on yourself to the point where you can understand the situation in totality, and just being patient. Being patient.
Terrance, you've poured into us today, and on behalf of the Entrepreneurial Development and Assistance Center at Morgan State University, #National Treasure, we thank you, and we wish you the absolute best in your movie and production career.
Thank you. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Thanks for listening to Career Moving Opportunities for College Students with your host, Donnie Glover. We hope today's episode helped spark new ideas and practical strategies for building your skill set and shaping your future. Be sure to join us next time as we continue the journey from college to career, one opportunity at a time.